Hi, my name is godfreyydzhivhuho from the University of Venda. I currently submitted my master's thesis and planning to register for my PhD in human genetics. Today, I'm going to give you a talk on human genetics. This is one of the talks which is most difficult to explain, and there are a lot of misinterpretations or misunderstanding on this concept. For this talk, I'll try to make it as easy as I can so that you can understand what human evolution is all about. So before we talk about human evolution, one has to understand the concept of evolution. Well, evolution is defined as a change over geological time. This change is mainly driven by climate change through a process called natural selection. Natural selection was first proposed by Charles Darwin, and it implies that organisms that are better adapted to their environment will survive and produce viable offspring. And hence, if they don't survive, they might not live to produce for the next generation. In simple words, it means survival of the fittest. So, human evolution will be a change of human species over geological time in response to climate change. And scientists rely on fossils as the main source of evidence to prove that evolution does take place. So there is a curiosity on why did we evolve, where did we evolve, and how we evolved. Answering these questions will help us understand why planet Earth is a habitable planet for human beings. So we start off with the Earth's climate 60 million years ago. As we can see, it was actually warmer and gradually cooled down as time went by. And we see that the biotic factors, looking at this one, the biotic factors changed as climate changed. And it was at that point when the first hominids appeared, and it was cooling down. As it cooled down, the change of these hominids also occurred. So they changed as temperatures and the whole entire climate changed. Now the climate change affected vegetation as well, and this led to the distribution of trees to be uneven. Because of this, hominids had to develop what we call bipedalism. In other words, they should free their hands for other use, because it is not easy to move when trees are spatially distributed. Hence, these hands will be used to gathering food and also to make tools so that they can hunt with these tools. So we can define a hominid as any human-like species, including ourselves. That is bipedal, it means that it works on two legs, and also intelligent, meaning that it should have a larger brain size compared, or let's say larger brain size in respect to its body ratio. The question is, are these guys hominids? The answer should be no, because they are not bipedal. They don't have a larger brain compared to us in respect to body ratio, and hence they don't know how to make tools. However, we share 98% of our DNA with them. So this might suggest that once off we were in one clade and split apart. So, to answer this question, did we evolve from chimpanzees? In other words, did we start as this guy, and we become this guy, and then we become this guy? Well, the answer to that, unfortunately, is no. We only share 98% of the DNA with the chimpanzees, but it does not mean we evolved from chimpanzees to being us at this point. To support the statement, we look at the early human timescale. So at this point, we see that there was a common ancestor, which split up into two groups, the hominini and the gorillini. The gorillini being the chimpanzees, the bonobo, and the gorilla. And us, we took the different route, known as the hominini group. And to look at it in finer details, we see that at this point, 4 million years, we started to have the first human-like species, Australopithecus afarensis, and also A. africanus. These are commonly known as the first human-like species. Fortunately enough, we have this species in South Africa, the Taung child, which was believed to be around 2,500,000 years ago. And from there, we start to have the Homo species starting to appear at around 2 million years ago. Now let's look at this genus Homo, because it's where we belong. The genus Homo means man, and it has evolved from 2 million years ago up to this point. Scientists have seen evidence, such as tools that they made, that there was an improvement in the tools that were made from 2 million years to up to this point. Let's look at the first well-known Homo species, or Homo genus. It is known as the Homo habilis, which was nearly found to be 2.3 million years old. It was named habilis because it meant handyman. These are the first guys to make tools. Primitive tools, nevertheless. Followed by Homo erectus, which dates 2 million years of age. These were the first ones to make fire, and they were the first one to move around from other places into Europe and Asia. Homo heidelbergensis followed 500,000 years ago, and this was known as, or rather say, referred to as the archaic Homo sapiens. And this name, archaic, means that they had characteristics of both Homo sapiens and Homo neanderthals. Neanderthals lived 230,000 years ago, and they disappeared roughly around 30,000 years ago. These were believed to live side by side with Homo sapiens, and probably have actually mated with Homo sapiens. And finally, we, Homo sapiens, existed around 450,000 years up to date. 250,000 years ago, that was a time where we lived in the Ice Age. We were pretty much intelligent. Our brain capacity was pretty much higher. So the word Homo sapiens meant man who thinks. So now scientists have all this fossil evidence, but the fossil evidence has missing links. Therefore, we cannot say for sure that each individual evolved from the other one. But we can date and tell that individuals actually came before the other individuals. That's the limitation that there is about evolution. Nevertheless, DNA is also used to prove that individuals actually are related or not. The story of the mitochondrial Eve from Africa, and also the Adam theory, is also proved by DNA analysis. How so? The thing is, nearly 75 or 74,000 years ago, all humans almost went extinct. This was due to the Toba catastrophe, which was a huge volcanic eruption and killed the population of humans, brought it down to around 2,000. Some say 200. But then from that point, people started to emerge from that small population. And luckily, it was from Mossel Bay, South Africa. So people think probably the Adam and Eve theory was a result of this catastrophe. So it means that from a small population, the whole nation diverged, or I say, was born. And we see that these individuals actually started from Africa, and that emergence, they started to move around throughout the entire world. The most special thing about this is that it is believed that actually the population started to grow from South Africa in Mossel Bay. And from there, they started moving around, exploring other worlds as time went by. This was because South Africa has this wide range of climatic variation. When it is cold, you can go to a place which is warmer. When it is too hot, you can move to a place which is cooler. And we only find these conditions in South Africa. It's one of the things that makes South Africa a special place. Another thing is that we do have living fossils in South Africa. The Khoisan group. These are known to be the oldest living people on the planet, and they are found in South Africa. They are probably descendants of people who came from Mossel Bay. Nevertheless, nobody knows which were the first hominids. And because of these missing links, we cannot really tell for sure which are the first hominids. But we can tell which came before which one. With all that, I would say thank you for your time.